The first lawsuit is now filed in connection with that deadly tour bus crash up in Northern California. Earlier this month, 10 people died when a FedEx driver hit a tour bus full of students. 2 San Diegans actually survived. Investigators still trying to figure out the cause of the crash.
Joining us now is King Aminpour, the attorney who filed that lawsuit against FedEx. He represents Rosa Rivera, whose daughter Jennifer Bonilla was killed in that crash. Good morning to you, King. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
All right, let's talk about this lawsuit. I understand it's seeking $100 million in damages, in part because you allege that these FedEx trucks sort of have a history of catching on fire, and you also think the charter bus should have had better exits to get people out?
That's right. That's right. This lawsuit is not only about compensating the victims, the families, but it's also about changing the corporate culture, not just with FedEx, but with all commercial carriers throughout the country. It's very important that they take notice so that a tragedy like this doesn't happen again.
Why is the lawsuit being filed as earlier? They're still doing the investigation. Why file it now until all the facts are known?
That's a very good question. This law firm, we treat all of our cases like doctors treat cancer. We are very aggressive. We don't procrastinate. We roll up our sleeves and go in. You want to work on these cases when the witness statements are fresh, when everything is available and accessible immediately. You don't want to eat stale strawberries.
What do you say to people who might look at this and think, gosh, this is just preying on people's emotions and sadness and just a terrible tragedy? You know, a FedEx driver who whatever happened, but crossed over the median and slams head on into a charter bus. There's going to be obviously a fire and there's going to be loss. Absolutely.
You know, it would be interesting for people to think that, but it's really much, much more than that. It's much more than this one singular incident involving 10 families who've been devastated. What this really involves is what can this lawsuit do to prevent this type of problem again? When will FedEx take notice? When will they take notice of things, of driving conditions, training their drivers, doing what's right? In the last 2 years alone, FedEx was cited for over 670 moving violations. At what point will big companies, Fortune 500 companies making billions of dollars a year, step up to the plate and do what's right? Train their drivers, look at their mechanical safety features of their trucks, resolve issues that need to be taken care of to prevent this kind of tragedy from happening again. That's really what this lawsuit is about. It's not about prying on anything. It's about compensating the families for losing loved ones. And life is priceless, as you well know.
King, I wanted to read you, the chairman and CEO of FedEx released a statement. I want to read that to you and get your reaction. It
Absolutely.
Reads, quote, "We at FedEx are committed to providing every resource necessary to assist investigators in their efforts to understand what happened. Just as important, we are committed to providing support for our team members, their families, and the families of all those who lost their lives." End quote. Your reaction?
That's expected. The old adage, with great power comes great responsibility. It's their duty, it's their obligation for being one of the largest parcel carriers in this country to compete with the U.S. Postal Service. It's their obligation to do that. And we are happy in some sense to know that they are cooperating and doing what they should be doing in this time of need.
As I understand it, this $100 million lawsuit is seeking damages for all past medical and hospital charges, burial, funeral charges, future loss of earnings and support, loss of love, loss of comfort and affection, and moral support. How do you quantify that in a lawsuit?
Very easy. What is the value of human life? And if you believe that the value of human life is priceless, then there's no money in the world that's enough to compensate a family who lost a loved one. No money. And this girl, my client's family, their daughter who perished in this accident, she was a 4.0 GPA student. She had a full scholarship ride to 2 universities. She was a shining star of her family, her high school, her neighborhood, her community. She could have been the next Supreme Court justice. There's no money that can ever value human life. And that's what we plan on showing a jury when this goes to trial.
Attorney King Aminpour, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.